Hi, I'm Mary Sherwood Savinsky. I'm so glad you joined me today for our continuing series on interviewing soft skills, I'm calling them. Those are the little skills that help beef up your performance during an interview, not necessarily nuts and bolts like researching a company in detail, how to do that, or how to present yourself specifically, but more the softer side of things that will hopefully help you to do a better job and be more comfortable during an interview so that you can make a better impression. A lot of times people don't even have the basic skills that they need to present well during an interview because no one really talks about it. I guess we all assume everyone has some of these basic skills we've been covering, but if you haven't interviewed for a while, and if you're not a people person or in an office job especially, it might be a little more challenging for you. And so at the very least, these little tips can serve as a reminder for you so that you can just have a little bit of an edge when it comes to that next interview that you want to do well at. And I'm sure you want to do well at all of them. A little bit about myself to begin. I'm an occupational consultant. My company's name is Professional Rehab and Occupational Services. I work with folks all over the world, helping them with their resumes, LinkedIn profile, interview practice, and things like that. Basically anything to do with work or careers or jobs. That's what I help folks out with. So if you're not sure what you need, or if you might need someone like myself, don't be afraid to email me or chat or Skype with me. I have all that information available on my blog, jobsearchfortherestofus.com. And when I upload this copy of the presentation to the internet, it will have a couple of slides with all of my contact information, my email, lifeworks@mail.com, and my website, life-works.info, and some other helpful links and resources and ways that you can get a hold of me. I do Skype and FaceTime and chat through LivePerson as well. So there's more than one way to get a hold of me. And again, if you're not sure, just ask. I'll let you know if I can help you or what you might need or how you can find what you need on the internet for free perhaps. So just let me know if you think I can help or if you're not sure in any way. Otherwise, hopefully this presentation and the others that we've been doing will be helpful to you. And if you have any questions, please make sure and shoot me an email. Again, it's lifeworks@mail.com. You can send me an email anytime. Let's review a little bit about some of the topics we've already covered. And again, these are seemingly very basic, but very important parts of being able to present well during an interview, and you want to do your best. So let's make sure you have all the pieces that you need to do that. We've talked about over-preparing for an interview and how that can really give you a sense of confidence. We've talked about taking notes and how to bring the notes into an interview with you in a way that's going to help you and not hinder you. We've talked about wearing comfortable and appropriate clothing. A lot of times we pick out a great outfit, but maybe we didn't test it and it's not so comfortable when we're sitting down as opposed to standing up, or vice versa. So that's very important. Going to the interview location the day before is very helpful so that you can be sure that you are allowing enough time to get to the location and that you can actually find the office suite. If you're going to a large office building, sometimes they're a little difficult to find. So make sure you know where you're going and how long it's going to take to get there so you don't arrive feeling frazzled, of course. Relax. Don't try to cram the night before the interview. It's not going to help you any more than it did when you were in college or high school if you didn't go to college. You've already done all your homework and prepared all that you can, so you're ready to go. The night before, you just should relax, make sure you eat and sleep well, drink plenty of water and all that good stuff. Breathe during an interview, and I get a lot of chuckles over that one. Well, of course, I'm breathing, otherwise I would be passing out. And sometimes you feel like it during an interview, right, because you're a little nervous. But no, when I say breathe, I mean to breathe, to avoid saying when you feel yourself getting ready to say or you need time to think a little bit, you can breathe instead and just take a breath in and give yourself that time to rejuvenate and feed your brain a little oxygen at the same time. That never hurts. So do make sure to take a breath to avoid saying and come across sounding a little more polished and confident, which is certainly what you want to do during an interview. Mostly we've talked about a lot of the tips had to do with before the interview, the last couple during the interview, and this one we'll continue talking about during the interview itself. One very, very basic thing that many people forget to do that is very important is to smile. And again, that seems to be a very simple thing. And maybe you might ask, well, why is this important? Or, you know, don't I want to appear to be very serious during the interview? I want to, you know, I don't want them to think I'm being flip or goofy or something. And, you know, how would it help me anyway to smile? And those are all really good questions. And, you know, certainly we're going to go ahead and answer those for you during this presentation because people can hear it in your voice when you smile. I don't know if you've ever talked to anyone on the phone, maybe a telephone salesperson or an operator even. It could even be a receptionist, but you can often tell if someone is smiling on the other end of the phone. I know years ago I worked selling Kirby vacuum cleaners, setting appointments for Kirby vacuum cleaners to put myself through a year of college. That was kind of a hard job, but I really did learn very early on that people can hear you smile, and they're going to be a lot more willing to talk to you if you sound pleasant, and they can really tell that right off the bat. So if they can tell however many miles away that you're smiling over a telephone, don't you think it would make a bit of a difference in person if they can actually see you smiling? Obviously it would, and you want to affect the interview positively, and you want to come across positively. So just make sure to smile, even though you're nervous, and you might have to force yourself a little bit to start. But once you do, you'll feel a lot more relaxed. You do want to project yourself in the best possible business persona that you can. You want to appear to be confident and, you know, competent, and, you know, that you have a can-do attitude and everything. But certainly you also want to project the fact that you are a human being and that you have some sense of personality, that you're not just a job candidate. One of the things that can really set you apart as a candidate is your likability factor, and a lot of times employers don't even know why they've selected one candidate over another. I get that question a lot. Well, I interviewed and I found out I was the second runner-up, but they can't really give me any reason why I wasn't the first. Well, that may be because the employer doesn't really have a clear-cut reason. It may be just they ended up liking the other candidate a little bit better, or felt like they might be a better match, in quotes. And, you know, that does happen a lot, especially if everything is equal. The employer is going to go with the candidate that he or she feels is going to be the easiest to work with, either directly for themselves or with coworkers. So why not put your best foot forward by coming across as a pleasant person, a human being with a personality, versus a very kind of staid, buttoned up candidate. You don't want to not allow your personality to come through, and certainly I'm sure you're a very pleasant person and do smile, so you want to do that during the interview. Sometimes when I work with clients who are a little bit shy or maybe introverted, they will I'll work with them to be able to say at a certain point during the interview, sometimes as part of their weaknesses, just to interject the fact that, well, you know, I'm a little bit introverted, or I can tend to be a little bit shy. That's something I'm working on. And usually by that point in the interview, the employer already has a pretty good idea of that. So this often elicits a chuckle But at the very least, a smile and a sense of goodwill, and certainly that's not the worst weakness you can bring up. So that often works to break the ice a little bit, and you may be able to use something similar for yourself. But again, very importantly, you want the interviewer to come away feeling very pleasantly about you and the interaction with you. You want him or her to leave thinking, you know, I like that Joe guy. He seemed real nice. I would like to be able to come in and work with him on a daily basis. And really leave them feeling with that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling. If nothing else, that may be one thing that tips the scales in your favor versus somebody else. So make sure and remember to allow that part of your personality or that humanity shine through, and an easy way to do that is by smiling. So why not do that? The other thing that smiling can do, and you might think I'm full of hooey on this, but I'm not, and you try it. Smiling can really kind of put you at your ease and allow you to feel a little happier or a little more positive, especially if you're feeling nervous a little bit. If you can make yourself smile, not in a forced or phony way, but actually with a natural looking smile, of course, your brain, believe it or not, will interpret that as, oh, I'm smiling, I must be happy. And this really does work, and it doesn't only work for yourself, it works for the people that you're interacting with. And if you don't believe me, try it sometime when your spouse or your friend or your coworker is a little grumpy, maybe having a bad day. Smile and see what kind of reaction you get, or maybe you're even having a bad day. I think you'll find that not only will you feel better, but the person that you're speaking with will change their mood a little bit, and you'll get a little better, more positive reaction from them, certainly. So try it next time you're not feeling like too chipper, and see what happens for you. I bet you'll find it works for you. So just to recap so far during this session, what we've talked about is, the importance of smiling. You want to do that to communicate your sense of humanity and personality and likability overall. And the interviewer will respond to that, and the tone of the interview can actually change because of that. You'll give the impression to the interviewer that you're easy to work with, that people are going to look forward to working with you, and why not? You seem to have a great personality after all. You smile and seem very pleasant. And again, it can really change the overall tone of the interview. One of the things we've talked about previously is the fact that you want the interview to go more like a conversation, so that you're not leaving with a sense of having been grilled, and the interviewer is not leaving with a sense of having grilled you. You want it to be a very natural kind of flow of conversation, and smiling can really allow that to happen for you. Let's see. Some other tips. Oh, you've practiced a lot so far. If you've done some of the other presentations, you've gone through really quite a lot. We still have several more to go, and after that we're going to have more nuts and bolts of how to prepare for an interview, how to answer some tough interview questions, and how to be prepared with actual stories and anecdotes to share that will highlight and underline objectively how well you do your job and how you approach your job, so that it really communicates to the employer why you're the candidate that should get the job. So look out for that other series. I think I have about 13 ready to go in all for the soft skills series. So we still have a few more things to cover, and again, they're real basic. And they may not seem important, but really in total, at the end, they really are. And again, not a lot of folks are talking about these soft interview skills, and I think that they are worth reviewing, and you certainly don't want to overlook them, especially, again, if you haven't interviewed for a while, or maybe you've never interviewed before. If you're in the trades, you may not feel real comfortable talking and interviewing and that sort of thing, or maybe you're going from a hands-on field position to a management or supervisory position and interviewing for the first time in a role like that. So having some of these easier things reviewed and practiced and tucked away in your back pocket, I think can really help you feel a little bit more confident and give you the opportunity to do even better during the interview than you would have otherwise. I do think it has good value. I hope you do as well. Again, when I upload the slides, this presentation, there will be slides that have my contact information for you, a little bit more information about myself as well, and I hope you'll take advantage of the free resources that are available to you via the slides or my website or blog as well. So I did have a couple of other things that I wanted to cover today because kind of related to the our topic of smiling. I came across an article from Miriam over at Kepi Careers, one of my favorite career coaches to follow. We do follow each other. I don't think any of us purports to have all the answers or be a good match for all the job seekers out there. Certainly I would be overwhelmed if I tried to take on all of you at once, and I'm sure Miriam would agree, so I don't think that she minds my reading her article and referring you to it. And actually I think this was featured in U.S. News, which is a very large venue to have her article shared, and it's 5 soft skills to showcase in an interview. And you know, soft skills in general are often overlooked by job seekers. They're so focused on you know, what are my skills, what do I need to know, what are the key words, that they forget that there's a whole culture and a personality to the company that they'll be interviewing with, and that you want to find an employer that's a match for you if you're going to be real successful and the employer is going to be real happy with you. So focus more on the match versus the job, I guess, if you will. And you know, some things that you can do to showcase some of your soft skills in addition to smiling, which shares your personality and the fact that you're pleasant. And actually I think that's probably one of the points that Miriam shares. Another major soft skill that employers really are looking for these days is work ethic. And you know, I hear about it every day from employers that they can't, believe it or not, find people who want to work. They have trouble getting people to show up. They have trouble getting people to work while they are at work. They're texting, they're emailing, they're chatting, they're at the water cooler, they're in the kitchen. They're not really sure what they're doing. I mean, considering the job market the way I know it to be and the number of people that are out there looking, it is really very shocking to hear from employers that they can't find people who want to work. But the fact of the matter is, they can't. So if you can work and show that you want to work and that you're a hard and diligent worker, that's going to give you a real step up with the employer. So that's definitely a soft skill that employers are looking for. Keep that in mind, to have an anecdote or two ready to go to illustrate what your work ethic is and how you approach your work, so that you can communicate better to the employer why you might be a great match for them when they're looking for somebody with a good work ethic, just like you have. And you want to make sure and communicate that clearly to them. Again, a positive attitude, you know, is very important to employers. Nobody wants to go to work and hear somebody grumble and groan and whine and complain all day long. Your boss doesn't want to hear it. Your coworkers don't want to hear it. Probably your loved ones don't want to hear it either. So if you can communicate the fact that you have a positive can-do attitude, again, that's another soft skill that an employer is going to really appreciate in you. Also, very important to have a story or anecdote, something to illustrate how you have a positive attitude and how that works for you and how that can benefit the employer, more importantly. Communication skills. This comes out during an interview. If you can't listen to the question, hear the question being asked, and answer the question being asked, the interviewer is going to know that. And I'm not talking about word choices specifically here. It's really, can you listen and can you respond correctly, and can you both verbally and in writing communicate? Can you understand and then articulate details and complex subjects and topics? Employers really want to know that. And kind of related to the work ethic, I think, is time management. They want to know that if you're given a job, you're going to be able to complete it. You're going to complete it well. If you can't, you're going to be communicating that with your communication skills. And you're going to be resourceful and figure out a way to try to get that job done in the amount of time allotted, and that you're not going to fritter away your time because you're going to be working while you're at work. Who knew? It would be such a new concept, but apparently it is. And I think, a lot of times cell phones are to blame for that, and internet and technology in general. We just sometimes get a little carried away with them and don't always put them in their place as we should. Self-confidence, you want to come across as self-confident. And that's something you just can't teach. You can maybe practice ways to non-verbally communicate it, and really work to come across with self-confidence. But self-confidence is really something that comes from within, from yourself accepting yourself and your skills and your knowledge, and really knowing that, having goals, knowing what you're working towards, having a support system that reinforces all those things and tells you, hey, you know what, you're great. We love you because whatever it is. So if you're not surrounded with positive people that support that sense of self-confidence, think about making a change, either to how you're interacting with them, who you're interacting with, or how you're thinking about your interactions with them. Because if you know what you're good at, and maybe even some things you need to work on, and start working on them, and know where you're going down the road and how you're getting there, that's going to give you a lot of self-confidence. And that's what's going to come across to an employer. You may have been laid off, and it might be a hard time for you. It is for a lot of folks. But again, if you have a plan, make a plan, start working towards that. And then surround yourself with folks that are going to help you get there. That is going to give you the confidence that you need and will come across to the employer. So I hope you'll do that. Again, hopefully these interview soft skills presentations have been helpful to you. We'll continue. We have a few more before we start talking about really the nuts and bolts of interviewing, and how to answer some of the tougher interview questions and things like that. Again, I'm Mary Sherwood-Savinsky. I'm an occupational consultant with Professional Rehab and Occupational Services. Do a lot of virtual counseling online, and resume writing, LinkedIn profiles, bios, things like that. Career coaching is very a cost-efficient way to get you where you need to go. If you do need help, I hope you'll consider asking somebody like myself. I hear every day, thankfully, that it was the best money my clients ever spent, and really very little considering all that they have to spend their money on, and their time, more importantly, sometimes. So if you need help and you're not sure, again, don't be afraid to email me. I'll be glad to get back with you and let you know if I can't help you, maybe give you some resources of places or people that you can go to for help, or let you know how I can help you. Either way, I do try to give away a lot of free resources. So please do check in on my blog, jobsearchfortherestofus.com, and my website, life-works.info. I have an ebook that's available for download there. Reduced price right now until I get it actually published and posted up on Amazon.com this fall. So I'm looking forward to that. But again, you can get that at a reduced price right now. Covers some of the basics of job search and things that you need to be successful in a good job search. And again, some of the topics that covered are things that you may already know and be aware of, maybe just need to be reminded of. Other things you may not know and do need to know to be effective in your job search. So regardless, I hope to see you back here soon, and I can't wait to hear you got the job. Let me know, will you? Take care.